Hi, welcome to Shivani TV. I have this incredible human with me today. Her name is Sylvie Vasquez Lavado, and there's so many things about her CV that I could tell you, but one of the most incredible things is that she's firstly one of 20 women who have climbed the 7 top mountains all around the world, the top 7 summits, but she's the only gay woman to have ever done that. So what I wanted to do is bring to you, the viewers, some of the insight into Sylvie. Sylvie, welcome.
Thank you very much, Ivani.
And Sylvie, tell me a little bit about your background. Like, what inspired you to do this? What inspired you to take time out of your full-time paying job to be able to create this?
You know, I got to tell you that I never was a mountaineer. You know, I was born and raised in Lima, Peru, and we're surrounded by gorgeous mountains in my country, but it never attracted my attention. And actually, it was in 2005 when I was struggling. I'm a survivor of sexual abuse. You know, just like 1 in 3 women in the world are going to have to experience this kind of tragedy in their lives. And so for me, it happened between ages 6 and 9. And I couldn't tell anybody. When I told my mom at age 15, she's like, "We gotta get you out of Peru." And I ended up coming to the States with a scholarship. But even as I ran away from my country, I still carried a trauma. And it ultimately appeared, and I got caught up in my 20s in a lot of negative behavior. I was trying to really almost escape from all the pain because I couldn't understand it. And so in my early 30s, my mother, in August of 2005, she had me going down to Peru to do a powerful healing meditation with her. And what came out of that meditation is that I needed to reconnect to that little girl inside of me that I had rejected for so many decades. And if anything, once we were reconnecting, this image came that we needed to be walking among mountains. And that to me was like, really? How? Why? And why am I going to make out of this? So I had just transitioned jobs. I was about to start a new job in technology. And I decided to take that vision because my pain had been so huge that I'm like, I have nothing to lose. But if I need to take this pain to a big mountain, well, let me take it to the tallest one of them all. So I decided to go to the base of Mount Everest in October of 2005. I had no experience, I had no gear, everything was alone. But I just went following up what came up in my heart and came up with this connection that feels sacred. And so I journeyed to the base of Everest with a porter and a guide. And the second day, when I came across the Himalayas for the first time, that ultimately changed my life. These humongous, larger than life mountains were talking to me. They actually almost were saying, like, "Sylvia, don't worry, you are safe." They made me feel seen, embraced, secure, something that no one had ever made me feel. And it was so powerful that I actually decided I made it to the base of Everest in 4 days as opposed to 9 days that it usually takes. Because I was like, I just need to be surrounded by this. And so when I got to the base of Everest, I was just so overpowered by just, the whole journey. That when I saw the sunrise coming between Everest, I promised, I'm like, Everest, one day, I don't know when, how, but one day I'm going to attempt to climb to the top under 2 conditions. Once, I'm going to become a mountaineer, and 2, I'm going to come back with a social cause to give back because you're changing my life here. And so that was a promise that I made to myself back in 2005, which has led me to this wonderful journey.
I have goosebumps from this conversation. One of the promises that you made to the mountain was to do something for a social cause.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the purpose of why you've started that? Obviously, it links into something that's very deep to you around your own trauma and abuse.
Yes.
Could you tell the viewers, what is some of the purpose behind it, and what are some of the things that you're not doing with that purpose?
So I briefly was going to say, because it's interesting, because life takes always many interesting shapes and forms. That was in 2005 when I started First Journey. And in 2008, I launched my first nonprofit. I actually was with my ex-partner, and we were focusing in Africa. And it's funny because part of me was like, oh, you know what, this is part of the promise, even though it just, to me, talking about the abuse was just so difficult still, even though I was on my own process of healing. Unfortunately, my partner and I divorced in 2013, and I lost the nonprofit. So I had to step out. And I remember, I had just lost my mom in April of that year, getting divorced, losing the nonprofit. I was like, I hadn't even been climbing in a while. And I did a lot of healing work, and I got back into my purpose of keep climbing. So I went to climb Mount Aconcagua in Argentina in January of 2014, and that was the first time I had summited after 4 years. And it was so powerful that actually the day of the summit, in my dreams, I had this vision, kind of like as if the mountain was talking to me again, being like, Sylvia, you gotta continue this promise. And two, the social cause is going to be bringing survivors of sexual violence from Nepal, from San Francisco to the base of Everest, so that they can experience the same connection that you did. So they can actually experience the same courage that you discovered. That's your social cause. And I remember going like, whoa, waking up, being like, oh my God, I'm oxygen deprived. And when I realized like, wow, this is what I need to do, that's when I launched my foundation, Courageous Girls.
That's incredible. And tell me a little bit about, give me an experience of one of the girls that's already come to one of these mountaineering expeditions with you, and what sort of healing journey, what is that healing and climbing that mountain to the base of Everest meant for her?
I mean, oh God, I mean, that brings me goosebumps to be able to remember that. One of them, the youngest one, she had been trafficked in Nepal at age 12, and she's now a mountain guide in Nepal.
Wow.
That changed her life. I mean, she was able to overcome it was amazing to see her on that journey, her spirit opening up, the connection. I mean, when they reached out the base of Everest, I mean, they all broke down, were crying, but especially for her, she felt like, wow, I can go further. I didn't know I had this strength. I didn't know I had this confidence. And so little by little, she's been developing and is now slowly guiding other people. Another one of my dear Nepali climbers, she was a little bit heavy, kind of had been sidelined for a while and, struggled. She just felt that, I mean, especially over the last 3 days, because when I took the girls the first time around, we never did the 4-day fast, like we took our time. And she was struggling, the altitude, the weakness, but she kept pushing it. And I remember she said, Sylvia, for the first time, I was able to trust myself again, to feel it in my heart. I kept visualizing I was going to make it. I didn't know I had the power in me to even put it that way. But I felt that in my soul, I wanted to do it, and I did it. So this is opening up the possibilities for me on anything that I can do. And that's a beautiful piece that I have seen with nature, that, it's you and nature. It's pretty much your own word. Nature is just kind of witnessing you, and it's so sacred. It's so independent. I just don't think we have had the ability of, exposing it that much.
Wow, I'm really moved by that. I've got goosebumps too from some of that. And so, Sylvie, what are some of the things that you do to help people?
Well, I love speaking. I love doing public speaking. I love being able to actually inspire the message, bring my energy. I can get very energetic. Doing coaching, doing some mentoring as well, trying to run in workshops. And I'm in the process of writing the book.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
How fantastic.
Yes.
And I think it'll be great. So that'll capture some of the journey and what we're speaking about here as well.
Absolutely. It's going to capture the full journey, the ups and downs, because even though I've been very lucky to achieve this incredible feat, it's been some deep downs, some big fears, some big demons that, just like anybody, I've had to overcome. And I would love to openly share all of it, because definitely it was one step up and 4 steps down, so it was definitely a very powerful piece.
That's incredible. And if people want to find you, where do they find you? How do they get in contact with you?
Thank you, Shirley, for the question. My website is called courageousgirls.org. That's the non-profit website. I'm very public on Facebook. If you put Sylvia, even if you Google me, so my Wikipedia page is going to launch, but if you put Sylvia, which is Silvia, Sylvia, Everest, Peru, boom, my profile comes up, my story comes up. But they can Google me through Facebook. I mean, I have an open profile. We're working into launching the overall platform. But yeah, there'll be multiple ways of people reaching out to me.
That is awesome. So I hope that you learn something from this courageous, amazing human. I know I have. I'm sitting here in San Francisco And I came here for another conference and I met Sylvie through some common friends. And to be honest with you, that's been the most inspiring part of my last few days.
Oh, thank you, Shivani.
And we'll put all the details in terms of how to get in contact with Sylvie at the bottom. And if you've got any questions or if you want to get involved with Courageous Girls or you really resonated with her story, it'd be fabulous if you want to get in contact. Thank you. Thank you,
very
Sylvie.
much,
Really
Shivani.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you.